Good day, everyone, and welcome to Meticulous Talks on December 9th, 2023. I'm Gristed Quartz.
And I'm Hifrock.
Happy holidays, everyone. Just lead with that. We're in the midst of December. This is going to be our last stream of the year. We worked that out before. But
Yep.
it's been a good year.
Yeah. It's been a really good year.
Not just for us, but for the CCG in general. In fact, it's been a really good... Wait, let me make sure. Do the math right. Is it tomorrow?
10th.
Well, wait. 10 years? Right, yeah, it is 10 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
10 years will finish. Right, okay. I always get that kind of confused. Like,
Yeah.
right, is it the 10th year
it
starting
will
or
be
the
11th year starting.
11th year starting? Okay, yes. A couple of days from now, sometime next week. I don't know the exact date.
Let's look it up. I think it was 13th. Yes, December 13th.
Okay, the Wednesday. Close enough for our purposes. Yeah, we already did a look back stream a little while ago, right? Maybe not a little while ago, but
I have no memory.
I remember us doing something of like a reflectance, reflecting on how we got into the game and our
Oh, yes.
yeah.
That was this year, I think.
Was that this year?
I think it was this year.
Okay. Anyway, for that reason, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to do like a retrospective of the past 10 years of the game. But instead, we have the ability to look forward. Because, as we mentioned in the last stream, there was this teensy-weensy sliver of an announcement from Grandpa's at Ciderfest, promising only big things for this 10th anniversary year. And
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means, that's right. And so we are here to speculate on whatever that means. Because that could... Well, wait a second. I've already forgotten what he told us it wasn't going to be next year, last week. Because last stream, we definitively proved it wasn't something.
I don't remember what it was.
Already forgotten what that was. Yes.
Maybe GP's in the chat. Maybe GP remembers what it isn't.
He is. Plenty. The only, I believe, tiny hint was in passing in the Discord conversation. GP said that whatever it is, it's going to be a lot of work for Sim. So, there's that to consider. I'm sure anything related to the CCG is a lot of work for them.
So, I think the first thing we can get kind of out of the way is a full set. So, because as much as I think it would be nice to have a full set, after a while, we didn't have a full set for a while now. I don't think one would call that the big thing for the anniversary, right? Unless it's like an insanely large set or something.
Well, it depends. So a couple of my guesses actually are related to new sets, but implemented in different ways. So
yeah, but what I mean is just like a straight up full set release. It would not
just
be
a normal set release and rotation of core. Yeah, that wouldn't qualify as a big thing in my book.
Yeah.
So I guess to that end, this isn't the top item on my list, but one of them was if they release the new set, rotate core, but they keep what core is now as a fourth format. like from Defenders onward, like Adventure is.
Adventure 2?
Yeah, something like that. And now they have 4 ban lists to manage. Like that. That strikes me as a potentially big thing. Kind of unrealistic, probably. Frankly, we don't really keep 3 formats afloat at the moment.
I mean, if anything, I think rotating the core would be bigger than not doing it, which is what that format would be. Because
Probably.
because core rotation is kind of a big deal. You lose a lot of stuff, and maybe it's our stream topic for the future. Huh?
Sure. Yeah, we could cover that in the future for sure.
Like what would happen if core were to be rotated? What would we lose, and so on. But that's not for now. That's for later. And yeah. So that's why I wouldn't think like having a third format would be the big thing for the anniversary, because like it is at that point the same format we're playing now, except with more cards in it.
All right. Well, what about my other format related idea? An equivalent of Magic's vintage format. Like kind of a Nightmare Light.
Nightmare Light.
Yeah, because we know Nightmare's a terrible format. But a version of it where somewhere between Harmony and Nightmare. So the way Magic does it in Vintage is that the cards are restricted. You can only have 1 copy of them, of the terrible ones in your deck.
Okay, but would you still revert the rules in that format?
That's probably not, because I think it's the rules change that makes Nightmare terrible.
Yeah. And like it's because of the rules like aggro wins.
Yeah.
Like I think it's less about unbanned cards even at that point.
For sure. Yeah. Anyway, those were the 2 format ideas. I think those are, yeah, you're right. Probably some
They're
of the
not
least.
Big, but
they're not
interesting.
They're not huge. No. Like, yeah, one of the things that kind of drove me in making my guesses is the thought that this should be something that hasn't been done before, right? Not just a new version of a thing they did before. This is going to be something different. Which is why I think my very first guess of a new villain challenge is definitely not the right one. Although it would be nice to have another one.
I mean, unless like you can turn villain challenge into a bigger thing. Like make a not related to the fact that we played Clank Legacy yesterday, but make like a villain challenge legacy.
Wow. That would be an idea. Jeez. That would be a ton of work. But that could be super cool.
A big thing, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, So for that to work, you would need to have. Let me see. Obviously, the decks the participants bring. Well, you could either have it be like it was before, where you bring the decks you want, or the participant decks are fixed and just kind of get variably upgraded legacy style as we go through.
Yeah, and if you really want to go into requiring like a lot of work, even more than just a lot of work, you could have it be like, so like the villain deck is like a global deck. That's like whoever plays villain challenge planes against this deck, and that's the deck that's changing. And whenever the deck is changing, it changes for everyone.
Oh.
So it's like it would not be a local thing. It would be like a global event of sorts. But that's insane amount of work.
That's kind of ridiculous. Yeah. Now we're talking about coordination and
yeah.
publishing updates and oof.
Hey, I can dream big.
I mean, that does sound super cool, and with a ton of work, potentially doable. I think that one. I'm gonna write that one down as a. Yeah. Global.
But yeah, I would actually like to see a villain challenge. I've never got to play any of the villain challenges, so it'll be nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite memory is you bringing Thorax. That was so.
The Thorax thing was super cool. Yeah.
And it was on stream too.
I fought tooth and nail to make sure that I would be, well, that I would be playing against Aura first, that I would be playing the Chrysalis Villain Challenge. That deck was terrible outside of that format. Frankly, it wasn't that great even in that format. It was just a meme, but yeah. It was a good time. So, next up on my list was properly codified multiplayer rules.
Well, of course, yes. Isn't that the thing that got denied last stream?
Oh, maybe. It might have been. That might have been the thing. Yeah, okay.
But maybe not. Like, I think a lot of people in the community would like to see that.
Yeah. And it has been kind of the unicorn. I'm using that in kind of the non-MLP unicorn style of so many people in this game who've tried to build multiplayer rules, and it's never quite worked. Obviously, I don't know how you would do it.
Well, there's those better rules. Have you played them?
No, probably not.
They're beta multiplayer rules from Enterplay.
Oh.
Did you not even know they exist?
I know there were a bunch of like unofficial.
No, that one was like unofficial, but it was beta. It was not like released. It was something that people could test things.
Then
so,
I guess I haven't played it.
I have played it once. It was really weird. But the way it works is that, first of all, it's not a team multiplayer. It's free-for-all.
Right. I mean, that's what everyone wants, yeah.
Not necessarily.
Well, like, most of the people, I think, maybe I'm making a generalization here, like, they're used to, Magic-style Commander playing. And that's what they're trying to replicate in CCG, in MLP.
So, the way it worked is your problem deck is yours. Like, the area of your problem deck is only available to you and to your opponent on the right. And on the left, you would have... and your opponent's problem would be a problem of your opponent on the left.
Right, so we're sitting in a circle.
Yes, we're sitting in the circle, and you still only have two problems.
Mm-hmm.
And you have two problems. One of them is yours, and another one of the opponent left of you.
Okay.
And I don't remember what happens if you do a double face-off. Something happens.
Right.
I don't remember if like everybody's involved or it's just the three people. So yes, that was the main premise, and everything else is kind of the same, I guess.
I mean, yeah, that is a fairly straightforward. That instance solves the kind of flipping problems of who's flipping cards for face-offs. But yeah, it introduces the problem of who all is involved with double face-offs and how that all works. But that is one way to solve it, yeah.
Wow. I guess everybody would have to be involved, right? Because if it's just three people, that's kind of weird. The person who initiates the double face-off always wins.
Yeah.
Because they have more characters.
That's the thing, right? Yeah.
But yeah, it was weird. I played it once. Played it once IRL. It was an experience. The other multiplayer rules I saw were by Bugle, Sisterhood Social.
Yeah, I'm aware of those.
Yeah, and that one is like two-handed giant in Magic, I think.
Yeah.
Like closer to that. I liked Sisterhood Social. I think it was fine. But yeah, multiplayer rules would be really, really cool to see.
Yeah, and I guess.
If
Sorry, go on.
one can make them work, and it would indeed require a ton of work. Mostly playtesting work.
Yeah.
To see what's fun and what's not, and so on.
Exactly so. Yeah. Another thing on that line you mentioned is social. A codified kind of XVX style format as well, team v team. We've played Team Sealed and such, but and actually I guess 3v3 is just easy enough to do. Oh. Yeah. Maybe that's not even a real thing.
But Team Sealed is not really like it is kind of multiplayer, but it's also not like the games are still isolated.
The games are fully isolated, yeah.
So
although if you could have like if you could blend them together.
Yeah.
So that the player on the right can play stuff into the player on the left's game or something like that. That's kind of.
You play latest greatest creation, but sideboard is shared between all three games.
Yeah, that's getting kind of interesting now. Well, you're not playing latest greatest creation; it's banned.
Yeah, but maybe in that format it wouldn't be banned.
So
another thing that comes to mind is the unset.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So far as I'm aware, there hasn't been actually like serious work on that front. But
I don't know.
Yeah. By definition, I don't know. Yes, I actually didn't think of that, but that'd be super cool. A proper silver bordered set, or whatever color they decide to put on it. For those unaware, that's another Magic thing. Silver are the cards that are not tournament legal, but just made for fun.
Yeah. I would not call that a big thing, but it's something that has been talked about.
It would be pretty big. Like the the Magic people have made it no bones of the fact that it is much harder to design silver sets than it is black sets. I have personally wanted Sim to do self-insert cards for a long time, frankly. I have no idea how that would work.
You want cheese?
Yeah.
Just would it be a resource or a friend?
Well, they would be friends, of course, or mains. Who knows?
So you have a cheese friend or a cheese main. That's even better.
Yeah.
And just a rainbow shine.
Of course. I mean, yeah, that's the whole point. It would just be a set full of memes.
Yeah.
I'm sure Grandpa's is in the chat just writing stuff down, right? This is just a gold mine of new information here. So, another one that came to my mind was like how family rules exist, right? As a simplified version of the game. Do you think there's room on the other side to do something like that just maybe isn't a more complicated version of the game? The game's complicated enough already. But like you could twist it up somehow. I don't know how exactly. But yeah. A totally new rule set that uses the cards to do something totally different.
So not like Silver Spanner. Because Silver Spanner is more about restrictions.
Yeah.
You mean it'll be like you would need to design a game in such a way that doesn't use any existing mechanics.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to not use any existing mechanics.
Okay, most existing mechanics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a super vague suggestion, and I couldn't think of any legitimately
You could like
plausible.
change how troublemakers work easily, I think. Which would be a big change to the game. I don't think you can really change confronting and stuff. Movement can be changed. Maybe design areas in some other way. Maybe there's no home. Oh, it's interesting. Yeah. To try to make a rule set that works for the existing cards, but it's different from the game we have today.
Right. I don't know. That was one of the wilder, weirder ones to throw out there.
Man, coming back to the legacy idea, that would like changing the rules as the game go.
Yeah, I mean that's a big legacy thing. Yes.
So yeah, clearly I just want CCG legacy.
I think that might be the coolest idea that's going to come out of this stream. Frankly, looking at the rest of my stuff. Yeah.
No, if Sim doesn't do CCG legacy, I say we do it.
I might be down for that. We'll have to think a lot about what exactly this is going to look like and what kind of story we're going to tell. But
it's fine. We'll just spend 10 years on it, and we'll release it for the 20th anniversary.
Of course, right? Yeah. Everything is still going to be totally the same 10 years from now.
Yeah, I mean, look, 10 years ago we had CCG, and look, 10 years now we still have CCG. So yeah,
that's one way of looking at it. Yeah.
And the game, it did change, but I would not say CCG changed like much. There was certainly a cutoff for Equestrian Odysseys where a lot of the design changed, not like visual, but
right,
mechanical too. But yeah, but otherwise, like the game, I would say is fundamentally not that different.
In a way, yeah. I mean, I could maybe say there's a whole different team of people designing the cards halfway through.
Yes.
That's
why I'm saying fundamentally.
Fundamentally, sure. But yeah, I guess in that.
Like if you compare the demo decks to the actual release we got, that's a much more drastic.
That's a much more drastic change. Yeah, that's a fair point to make. Yeah, in its fundamentals, things haven't changed that much.
Yeah, I kind of like your vague idea of like using the same cards in different rule sets.
Well, it is.
That could be really interesting, I think.
It is just a vague idea that doesn't have
Yeah, but it is an interesting one.
Sure. So less creatively, but still kind of interesting in its own way. We've had the online cons and the Coco tournaments. One possibility that's stuck to my mind is maybe Sim wants to like really expand that. Maybe they start running their own invitational. Who knows? Steal our idea.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
It's probably not gonna happen. But some more formalized competitive season somehow is a thought.
Yes, I see what you mean. So kind of like getting points for an invitational, but except like its own organized thing.
Yeah. I guess leading up to Continentals is the way they would do it.
Yeah. I mean, the way it worked in the past is that to get to Continentals, you had to be invited for winning local. tournaments.
Yeah. But of course, you would you want Continentals to stay in open. So
Yes.
back to the buy rules.
Yeah, like you would think that, like it's not unreasonable to assume, like given that Sim is an entity right now that both designs the sets and organizes stuff for the most part.
Mhm.
Maybe what we will get is some combination of those two things, right? Like
So-
it'll be a little bit of that and that, maybe. I don't know.
Right.
Like maybe it'll be some sort of seasonal event, like you said, and maybe it'll be like cards designed, or I don't know.
Yeah, there's space there for some interesting stuff. And by the way, for what it's worth, if you're in the chat and you have your own ideas, please voice them.
Yeah.
Love to hear.
On kind of similar note, it'll be cool to have like a series of tournaments where there's like it's kind of like a prize wheel set, but just for the design for that tournament. You know, like, okay, this is this tournament, and you can use this extra set of cards, never seen before, and to see what people do with them. And like, they don't have to be extremely balanced, right? Because it's a one-time thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But it could be like a good, not testing ground per se, but something of that sort.
That's a really nifty idea. Yeah. Or like doesn't even have to be constructed per se. You could sprinkle them into a limited event too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a cube kind of thing, right? Where maybe you have a pack of cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Just...
That would be like quite the way to reveal a card. Just open up a pack and it's like, what? This isn't a real card.
It would be really cool. That's how people used to discover cards back then,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
I think, yeah, that's another one I'm going to write down.
Us brainstorming ideas for the game disguised as a stream.
Well, yes. That's exactly what I said this was going to be about. Okay. Another in the category of things people have always wanted but are basically impossible to do. Full solution/implementation of the rules.
I think that's not happening this year.
Yeah. Yep.
Like I'll just say it right there. There are talks about making it happen, but there have always been talks about making that happen. But recently there are more talks about making that happen. But it's not happening for the 10th anniversary.
Okay.
Like, we're not implementing an engine in 3 days. Sorry, Cursed.
No, it's like 4 days.
Oh yeah, okay. That maybe we can make it by the 4 days.
Plus, there's like half of this day too. Like, gee, you guys have plenty of time.
You're right. But yeah, not happening.
Not happening. Yeah, I expected that much.
A global team sealed tournament. I know team sealed on online is kind of weird, but maybe that's what requires a lot of work to make it work nicely.
And you can do it in... No, you can't. Well, you can't do 3v3 in the TTS mod we currently have.
We do have a larger...
Oh, you do?
Mod table, but it's kind of weird. Like, you cannot just put 6 people in the Discord channel. That will not work.
Yeah.
Like, the physical distance between people is what makes it work IRL. It would not work in TTS unless you do positional audio or something like that. I don't know.
Gotta be a way to make it work. You're right. Well, if
positional audio is a thing.
It is a thing, yeah. But, well, does that work with everybody's sound setup? Or do you need special,
well, you don't
good
need
enough sound
you,
equipment?
You just need, software. I don't think you need anything special for that.
Does it even, what if, say, someone didn't even have stereo audio?
But, well, it doesn't really matter, right? Because the point of positional audio
is right. It's just volume attenuation.
Distance play, yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I'll be surprised if somebody doesn't have stereo audio in 2023.
Yes, but you have to design for the worst case scenario.
Yeah, it has to be inclusive. Yeah. Okay, another thing that's a lot of work is SCCG convention, but not like HIFCon, but like bigger.
Right. HIFCon, but bigger. Right. Something specific. And I suppose we do have proof of concept. HIFCon worked.
Yeah, it was really good. Well, for me anyway, I had a really good time.
I had a good time too. I think everyone had a good time.
We'll see if we can do it in 2024.
But yeah, something like that. I guess it would be in, well, realistically, I think it's been proved
Midwest.
out that, yeah, you do that in the Midwest. Even though that's geographically inconvenient for all of Sim.
They can manage.
But yeah.
Invite people from Europe too.
Yeah. If you put in a good time, make it realistic, only 1 or 2 days, and book a relatively small venue. That's a cool idea. I think that could work.
Yeah. There's a lot of work though, and a lot of money too.
Mm-hmm.
Because booking a venue is,
well,
pricey.
It depends on what you're booking, right? You didn't pay anything for your venue.
Yes, because I didn't have to book anything. Kind of cheated.
Yeah. So, maybe Sim can cheat.
So, yeah. But I think in general, the vibe that I have is that it's going to be some sort of community event, that involves the community. Because GP explicitly mentioned the design a card thing, the fact that it did not get accepted on Ciderfest.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be at Vancouver now.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if that's confirmed, but I don't see why they wouldn't accept that.
Well, I don't see why Ciderfest wouldn't have accepted it, but yes.
Yeah. So, I'm thinking that the 10th anniversary event has to involve community somehow, right? Because it is about the community.
Could be.
And the fact that the game has been there for 10 years, and the only reason it has been there for 10 years is because of the community. The only reason the cards we're still getting new cards, is because of the community.
Mm-hmm.
And so on.
Yeah, that's a fair point. How do you... And I guess that was leading into the CCG Con thing.
Well, not just CCG Con, right?
Right.
Events or some sort of events, I guess. Or maybe... I don't know. There are many ways you can involve community into something. Like design a card is a good example of something that community gets involved with. But
right. But yeah, you can't really, at least so far as I'm aware, do that for a larger piece of set. Something like that.
No, that would be pretty hard.
Right. So funnily enough, actually, my general idea, the one on my list that I thought was most plausible, was going the other way of that. It was set related, essentially saying that the set for this year would be a kind of greatest hits set that reached back into Premiere Block and maybe take do the re-implementation of the crystal mechanic and update it to actually work in the present rule set. Do a re-implementation and update of all those old, forgotten, half-baked design things from the Premiere set and make them all actually work in the present game.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Like overhauling a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you played WoW?
Sorry.
World of Warcraft?
Yes.
Do you know Cataclysm expansion?
I didn't play it, but yes.
It's the one where they overhaul
yes,
the entire,
I'm yes. I guess I know the basics of what happened story wise. I don't know what happened in the mechanicals.
But like what they did is that they took all of the like original zones, like classic zones, as people would call them today, and they overhauled them. They changed the terrain here and there, changed the quests. Like it's pretty much a new experience at that point, but it's still also kind of has shadows of the past, I guess.
Right.
You would call that.
Right.
So maybe something similar can be done here.
Yeah, because I know, that's something that people have been wanting to do for so long, ever since Crystal games came out. Like, oh man, the ideas in that set are great. The cards just all suck, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you could fix them, and I don't know what you would do. Like maybe you keep the same art, call them different cards, and put like a special ornamental border on them or something. I don't know. But like, yeah, basically a set that's like a fixed version of old sets.
Yeah, I like that. And it would require a lot of work, so it's in line with that too.
But yeah, it's a different approach. It's a celebration of the cards rather than a celebration of the community. So
yes,
I think yours is equally plausible.
Yeah. Wow. Like like my hope is that it's gonna be both, right? That's my hope, is that it's gonna both be a celebration of the community and the celebration of the card game. Involved like a design a card, right?
Right.
Like designing a card is about both of those things. And I really like that. And maybe it would be cool to have more in that direction. Not people designing sets, but in the direction of involvement of the community with the card game.
Yeah.
A deck potluck?
Wait, how do you... Like,
I don't know.
I know what those words mean. I don't know what they mean when you put them together.
Everyone puts a card in, and we see what deck we end up with, and we play with it.
That sounds... admittedly, actually kind of interesting. So...
You wanted crazy ideas on this.
I mean, no, that's... So, wait a second. So, if it was going to be like a... Like, yeah, you bring some selection of cards, but So one problem with that is making sure everyone gets their cards back at the end of it.
Well, it would be virtual, I would think. Because
virtual. Oh, okay.
I think if anything gets done with the community, it will be preferred if it was
right. It has to be.
Right. We have a lot of people who are
international
another.
and
Yeah,
yeah. That's a good
you would
point.
want to involve them too.
Okay, so yeah, if we don't worry about card ownership, then yes, understanding that you're going to bring cards that are just going to get shuffled up into a big pool. That is a nifty idea. Like, yeah, like you could even do like a build your own cube kind of thing.
Yeah.
Everyone brings some number of cards, and they all just get shuffled up into a big cube, and then
You build a limited set. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody includes a card. Yeah. Interesting.
That sounds super plausible. That sounds like the kind of thing that Sim has the expertise to actually implement as well.
You mean like technical expertise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess it's wait. Who runs the draft generator these days? Is it you or
It's Smithers.
it's Smithers?
Well,
Yeah, I thought
it depends. I have like the seal generator API, which Ara uses sometimes.
Right. The fact of the matter is, there is a brain trust that can handle that.
There is. There's a lot of. This game has a lot of programmers for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Like Smithers, a programmer. You, a programmer. Me, a programmer. Cheese, a programmer. Ara, programmer. It's hard to name people who are not programming.
Frankly, yeah. Yeah, you may as well put Minty on that list by now.
Yes, correct. And a little bit of bite too. A little bit of bite. But yeah. Although the potluck idea would not involve designing anything, right?
Right.
Well, other than designing the cube, I guess. If that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it sounds like the kind of thing, like, suppose Sim was going to announce that like every quarter there's going to be a special thing happening in this year.
Yeah.
That sounds like the kind of thing that you could do in like the summer or the fall or something.
Yeah. Now that I think of it, it's kind of the opposite of what Invitational did today, this year.
Right.
Where people banned cards, but here it's the opposite. People bring cards.
Yeah. Well, that is the end of my list of ideas. Oh, do you?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I have any more crazy off the wall ideas.
Fair enough. But yeah, I think like the thrust that comes out of it, I'm sure, is that we're both super excited for what is gonna come out of this. Sam is obviously much more creative than either of us, so
Yes.
I would definitely put it as at least 75% chance that whatever is actually coming is not anything that we just talked about. Although I think
Probably not.
I think that we did have some very good ideas that I do want to see at some point.
Yeah, give me CCG Legacy. Okay, we're doing that, right?
We should talk about that at some point. At least try to make some outlines of what that might look like. Because that would be a great thing to have in the off months somewhere. It's like, yeah, do a thing where every week we release new rules or new cards or that'd be a logistical night. Well, I guess not really. No, yeah, you would just have some web service that you patch in with the new card.
Yeah,
maybe it's okay.
It'll be fine from the technical perspective, I think. The harder way is designing it, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I think the design work is the most complicated part of this. Although I say that as a programmer. Programming is like, I think designing card games is much, much harder than programming. That's my opinion as a programmer.
I think that's my opinion as well. Yeah.
That's why I think, like, oh yeah, designing infrastructure to make it all work, that's doable. Designing actually all of the cards and like rules and whatnot, that sounds like a huge undertaking. And like, so it's fun for everyone too, not just
Yeah.
designing random things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, you would need to involve community somehow as well. You don't just release new rules, right? Like, the point of legacy games is that your decisions affect stuff.
Which realistically, right, it means that you're just like with any legacy game, you are kind of designing like 10 games at once and mixing and matching the pieces between them. Oof.
Yeah. But your sessions could be tournaments, right? You organize a tournament and somehow something happens in that tournament that affects everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. So this would probably be a year-long thing then.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, every month you'd have a tournament.
Like an anniversary year.
Yeah, who knows, right? Huh. I think we should talk about this, and like chances are we'll be like, oh yeah, this sounds like way too much work, and we're not going to do it. But it is a really cool idea. Anyway, I think that brings us to the end of our speculation. If you're in the audience, thank you for watching. I hope you found some entertainment out of that.
Or inspiration.
Or inspiration, indeed. Indeed. That is going to be the end of our stream today. The end of our streams for this year. When we next talk to you, MLPCCG is going to be 10 years old.
Woo!
Hooray! Yeah, it'll be great. So, as I said, thanks everyone for watching today. Thanks to everyone who's ever watched or commented or subscribed to our YouTube or any assistance ever given to our channel. It's been wonderful and appreciated. It's been a wonderful ride, and here's to 10 more years.
Yeah, 10 more years. And I would say we should say thanks to everyone in the community.
Yeah.
Because again, that's why the game is still here, and that's what, like, community makes this game.
For sure.
Just as much as cards do.
100%, yeah. Without the people playing it, it would be nothing. So, till next time, I've been Cursor Chords.
And I've been Hifrock.
We'll see you in 2024.
Bye.